In this project file, you can see that what I'm doing is looking at the garden room with the fireplace. And what I pointed out before is that under sun settings, you could go in and you could pick, say, winter solstice at 4 o'clock and apply that to get the lighting that you want. What I want to point out here is a warning about the lights. If you pick on the lights that are shown on the left hand side of the screen here, and you say edit family, there's two types of lights. We'll look at another light later on that's using EIS files, but right now what I wanted to show you is what typically is in the architectural product, where you can define how the light is distributed. You see if choosing here. So that was a light bulb, and what I'm using is the point, light just coming from a point. And then the other option that's here, if you go to the family types and you go down to the photometrics, you can see initial intensity, and here is that you can specify either it's a 100-watt bulb and what its efficacy is. Usually get this information from the actual packaging of the light bulb, or a spec for a lighting family that you've loaded. So you can specify, with any of these, like what the value is, but I can see that it's going to give me about 61 lux, or about 6.1 foot candles 10 feet away from the light source itself. And then there are multiple 2-foot centers on the side of my project. So the one up here, I don't actually have a fitting, if you like. This is really just the file with the light source in it. So I'm going to close that. I won't save it. That's what I had here. The thing you've got to watch out for is if I pick on the light fitting that I've got on the ceiling there, and I say edit that family, the architectural products are set up really from the point of view of looking good when you do a rendering. If I select on here, you can see that it's got the distribution. The thing to watch out for is under the material. So if you picked on the extrusion, it is the tube in here, and you can see it says glass white high. And if I look under glass white high luminance as the fixture material, what you don't want when you're analyzing light in your building is materials that are self-illuminating. That's often on the architectural lights, because that's adding an extra light source. These are meant really for this kind of situation, but when you're doing like a neon strip or something like that, neon tubing, but they really shouldn't be used to do when you're doing calculations. So what I want to do, I can change it in here, but also I need to change it in the product, right? So if I need to change it in the model that has the light in it. If I change it in here and it already exists in the model, the material will not update, right? So just to show you where it is here, if I said manage material, anything that's got a little warning beside it here is an indication that this is a material that was used before the current 4.0 release of the lighting tools, or 4.1 release of the lighting tools in Revit. So these are all kind of slightly out of date, and if it's something like glass, it makes a difference. So there's my glass here. You see, if I pick it and I look at the appearance characteristics here where it says self-illumination, you would want to turn that off. so that there's no light coming from the surface of this, but just from the light source. And what I'm saying is that if I were to go back, if I load this into my project again, right, so if I go load into project, overwrite the old one, you may have expected that it would change what was on here, but in fact it doesn't override materials that are already in your project. So if I say manage materials in my project, you'll see that this hasn't changed. I need to change it in my project. And then I can use that in my lighting studies and get real values for it. So from the point of view of doing an image rendering, this might not look as nice as you want it to, but from the point of view of doing a lighting study, it needs to be switched off.